All right, hello people watching this video. This is 3-5. This is the second half of the notes. We did example 1 through 3 on Thursday. But just because it's been a long weekend, let's go really quickly and catch some people up like Jack. Jack maybe is the only one that we need to catch up, okay? We're going to catch Jack up really quick on the steps for completing the squares. So the first 4 questions on your homework assignment were like example 1. The second 4 questions were kind of like example 3. So let's go through really quick and we'll run down those really fast, and then we'll do the last 4 questions, which is like the rest of this, okay? So example 1, they say use the square root property, okay? I'm going to use that same notation today, square root property. And here's my equal sign. We're just going to track him, and the 36 is just going to stay, and he's going to chill out, okay? But this guy is a simple trinomial. So we're looking for, like, what can we multiply to get 9, but when I add them, give me 6. What you got?
3.
Positive 3, right? Okay, but the fact that those two pieces are the same allows me to write this as x plus 3 squared. And I want that to always happen, right? Otherwise, we can't do the square root property. That always has to happen. X plus 3 squared, yeah? Okay, then what? Do you remember? You take the square root. To get rid of a square, you take the square root, right? So the square root and the square cancel out, and I'm just left with x plus 3. What is the square root of 36? Plus and minus 6. 6 times 6 is 36, but negative 6 times negative 6 is also 36. Last step, I have to subtract 3, right? So here's the deal. When I subtract that 3 over, I have positive 6 minus 3, which is 3, and I have negative 6 minus 3, which is negative 9. And what do those two things tell me? You remember? Those are the zeros. Those are the x-intercepts. So negative 9 is over here, and 3 is like here, and then he's going to like loop like that. Something of that nature, right? That's what he will look like. Those are my 2 zeros. Happy with that? Okay? All right, so that was using the square root property. That is like example, that's like problems 1 through 4 on your homework, yeah? Then we go down to example 3, and this is problems 5 through 8 on your homework. And they just give you this part, and they say find what C is. Okay, so first of all, we're still looking at this as a simple trinomial, and we're saying, what do you multiply to get C, which we don't know what that is, but when you add them, give you 16, right? So I said before that, like, there's a lot of combinations that add together to give me 16. Like, if I do, don't write this down, but like 10 and 6, right? X plus 10, x plus 6. 10 and 6 add together to give me 16, but I want them to be the same bubble, so I can write it like that, right? So it has to be 8 and 8, right? Whoop. I got too much eraser going on here. Has to be 8 and 8, okay? In other words, you just take this middle number and you divide it by 2, right? X plus 8, x plus 8. So I write that as x plus 8 squared, right? Now, if that's the case, what's the value of C? 64, because 8 times 8 gives me that 64 number, right? Is this all coming back to you? Okay, we're going to be doing these same steps again here in the bottom part, okay? So when they ask for, it says find the value of C. Then write the trinomial as a perfect square. That's this part right here. Writing the trinomial as a perfect square is that part. Okay, so you have to have both of those pieces in order for the full answer, right? Good? That was Thursday. That was a really quick run through of Thursday. Good?
What if we have a question from the homework about what we were supposed to do?
That's fine. I'll either ask me here and when we're done with this, or I think I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the 7, and you end up with the decimal.
7?
Is it not number 7, but it's like
8.
No, it was 5. 5 if you're divided by 2. 8.
It's 6 and 8 for me.
Okay. We'll go over this here in a minute. Okay. All right. So completing the square. Here we go. This is full blown completing the square. I'm going to list out some steps for you, for those of you who like steps. Okay. Step number 1. Here's my equal sign, right? Okay. We're going to get the x's. I'm going to say x's on one side, numbers on other side. That is step number 1, okay? Most of the time you're wanting to have everything set equal to 0, right? Like everything's on the left side and 0's on the right side. Completing the square is one of the only times that does not happen, okay? If I want all my x's to be on one side, that means x squared and 10x can stay, but the 11's got to move over to the other side. How do we boot that 11 over to the other side? I'm going to add the 11 here, and I'll add it over here, right? Okay? So I'm going to write it as x squared plus 10x. Now leave a little space before you put your equal sign. Okay, leave a little space, like a space for another term. And then equals, that'll just be 11 over here, right? Okay, you see how this works? That's step number 1. Step number 2, add your plus c's. Okay, so do you remember before where we did plus c? We're going to make this into a trinomial, but we have to add plus c there, right? We're going to figure out what that becomes. But here's the kicker. This is the main important part. If I add a number over on this side of the equal sign, right? In order for it to remain equal, I have to add that same number on that side as well, right? True? In order for my equation to stay balanced, it has to be added to the right side as well, okay? So we're going to do that. We're going to do plus c and plus c, okay? Now, we do this just like we were normally going to, and we try to break this down, and I want to multiply to get that c value, which we don't know what it is yet, but I want to add to give me 10. What two numbers add to give you 10 that are the same number? 5. I want positive 5 and positive 5, right? Yeah? Does that make sense? And if that's the case, what's the value of c? 25, right? So 25 would go here, but 25 has to be added to the other side also, right? In order for it to remain the same. So what it's going to be equal to what on the right? 36. Perfect. Okay, then we just treat this like normal, right? I want to write this left side as x plus 5 squared, because that's what that is, equals 36. And then I just do that square root property. Okay. Oh, step number 3. Step number 3 was factor the, I'm going to say st for simple trinomial. We factor that simple trinomial. Okay. And then step number 4, I write as the last step. The process of solving this thing is called that square root property. You remember doing that? The square root property means we're taking the square root and we're solving. Right? So if you need your steps, that's your steps. Okay? The square root property. I'll let you write that down for a second. Okay, so if I take the square root, x plus 5 is just going to fall out of there, right? Equals, what's the square root of 36? And negative 6. Positive 6 and negative 6. Don't forget it. Okay, now, last thing. Subtract the 5, right? So, if it's positive 6 minus 5, that is 1. If it's negative 6 minus 5, that is negative 11. Okay, what do those two numbers represent? Again, those are the x-intercepts. So 1 is here, negative 11 is over here, that's where he's crossing. Something like that, right? Okay, good. This is just another way of finding it by completing the square. Okay? All right, let's go to the back side. I am going to, what? Oh, I'm going to change this number, example 5. Cross out this guy because I don't like him. He doesn't come out very nice. I want a better example. So write that one down. X squared minus 6x plus 6 equals 0. Write that one down. I'm changing the problem. I'm changing the problem on the notes. Okay, x squared minus 6x plus 6. X squared minus 6x plus 6. Good? Okay, let's solve this one. So, step number 1, what do we do first?
Subtract the 6.
I'm going to move this 6 over. Right? Here's my equal sign. Here's my equal sign. I'm going to move that 6 over, but I'm going to leave a space for my plus c, right? Minus 6x equals negative 6. And I have to leave space for that plus c and that plus c, right? Okay, so I added my plus c's in. That was my second step. Third step. What are we going to do now? I want to multiply to get c, but I want to add to get negative 6. What two numbers add together to give me negative 6? Negative 3. So x minus 3 and x minus 3, right? But I want to have the same number. So if that's the case, what will c be?
Plus 9.
Positive 9, right? Not negative 9, positive 9, yeah? Plus 9, plus 9. Okay? So the right side number, what will my right side number be?
3.
3, okay? So we got lots of 3's going on here. All right, I'm going to write this as x minus 3 squared. And if you want to skip steps and go straight from here to this step, that is totally fine. I don't care. Right? You can, you know that like it's going to end up being that squared. Okay, so if you want to skip that step, you sure can. Like, I don't care. Okay, next, take the square root. Okay, but here's the problem. What's the square root of 3? It's not 1.5, because 1.5 times 1.5 is 2.25. It's a bad number. It's an ugly number. So, what we do is we leave it as the square root of 3, but we have to make sure we still include the plus and minus, right? Okay, and then x minus 3 is going to fall out. Okay? We did one kind of like this on the notes, right? On Thursday. So if it doesn't come out nicely, if it doesn't come out as a nice square root, just leave it as the square root of whatever that is, right? Last step, I have to add 3 over, right? Can you add that 3 to the 3 that's on the inside?
No.
No.
It's before.
So, you write your answer as x equals what?
Plus minus 3.
I do this 3 first. I do 3 plus and minus the square root of 3. That's how I write it.
Or you
okay?
can do plus minus.
Now you
square
can do
3
plus
three.
minus square root of 3 and then plus 3.
Yeah.
That is still the same answer, yes. I just usually write my answer like this. But if you write it the other way, I'm not going to count it wrong. Okay? Alright, so technically those are the same thing. Now, this still represents the zeros, right? This is still the zeros, okay? But what it's going to end up doing is it's going to be a decimal place, right? Like it's not going to be a full answer. I think 3 plus and minus the square root of 3 is like 4 point something. So we're going to have a dot over here, and then this would be like 2 point something, negative 2 point something, right? Ugh, that did not go through there. But anyway, okay, so it's going to be, still have 2 zeros, but it's going to be decimals, right? It's 3 plus the square root of 3 and 3 minus the square root of 3. Those are my decimals, right? Good? Yes?
Yeah.
Not nice. Okay, next. All right, same process again, but this time we're going to end up with a really ugly answer. But we'll get to that. It's fine. Same process again. First step. What are you going to do first? Minus the 22. Always get that to the other side. But leave a space for your plus C. Okay, it's going to be negative 22 on the right side. Okay? Leave a space for your plus C plus C. Yeah? I see a C. Okay, there you go. Ready? That's my plus C's. Now I break it down. So I want to multiply to get C, but when I add them, give me 8. What two numbers add together to give me 8? 4 and 4. Positive or negative 4? Both plus. Plus 4 plus 4, right? Equals, what would C be in that case? 16, right? Okay, but what's 22, negative 22 plus 16? Negative 6. There's where the problem lies. Here we go. X plus 4 times x plus 4 is x plus 4 squared. And I have negative 6. Okay, here's where the problem is. I'm going to take the square root. What is the square root of negative 6? It's not 3i. No, because the square root of 6 isn't 3.
Oh.
The square root of 6 doesn't come out nicely, so we just leave it as the square root of 6i, right? But it's plus and minus square root of 6i, right? We still need the plus and minus. You see how that negative comes out to be an I, right? Because we can't take the square root of a negative. Okay, so it comes out to be an I, and we still have x plus 4. Okay, last step, subtract the 4. Can you subtract 4 from 6?
No.
No, so your answer is going to look like what? Negative 4 plus minus the square root of 6i, okay? Because it's a negative inside the square root, it comes out to be an I. Now, what does this number represent, or those numbers represent? Those are the zeros still, right? But the zeros are imaginary. So what does that mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so I have a graph that's probably looking something like that where he doesn't touch it all because they're imaginary, right? He doesn't have any zeros
Why do we have to
that
find out
touch.
what the zeros are?
What?
Why do we have to find out what the zeros are for that one?
Because we didn't know. We didn't know originally that there wasn't any zeros. That's the problem. So like we don't know until the very end that we actually don't get it. I mean, yeah, you would. Yeah. So if that's the case, then I wouldn't even worry about trying to find the zeros if I already knew he didn't have any. But we get to this point and we're like, we don't even know if he has any or not. So we get to the point where it's negative, and then that's why he doesn't have any. Yeah. So yeah, if that were a normal problem and we knew he didn't have any, I wouldn't even have you find them. So, but anyway, how's that? Okay? Alright, your task is to do the last 4 problems, right? The last 4 problems. Alright, here's the deal.
Homework?
This is the homework. The last 4 problems on the homework. So you should have 1 through 8 already done. And let me break down these with you because I'll show you which ones come out nice, right? Okay, ready? Number 9 is going to be nice. It will be like the first example, which is example... Which one was the first of the 3 examples? Did we do like 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah.
So it's like example 4, okay? It will come out as a nice, like 2 whole numbers, good to go, okay? Number 10 is not nice. Not nice. It will have an I in it, like example 6. That's what number 10 will look like. Okay? Number 11 is not nice either, but it will not have an I. So not nice, but no I. So it will be like example 5. Okay? And the same thing for 12. Not nice. Like it won't come out a whole number. It'll be a square root. But it doesn't have an I. It will be like example 5 also. Okay? So that's 9, 10, 11, 12. 9 is the only one that comes out with 2 whole, beautiful looking numbers. Maybe 2 whole numbers. There might be 1 number. Hint, hint. But then the rest of them kind of have an ugly part to it. Okay, good? Yes? All right, you have like way tons of time. We never finish this early. That's crazy. Okay, so if you have questions, I'll come around and answer questions. Otherwise, work on these 4 so you can ask me questions on them. Or I will come and check them. I don't care. That's fine. Okay?
We're checking questions, all of them tomorrow.
We'll check all of them tomorrow. Yeah. Or we'll go over questions on all of them tomorrow. Except Megan said she had a couple of questions. So if she wants to answer them now, I can. Since we have time.
I think I might
Okay?
be able to figure them out.
Okay?
But I want to know what we learned today.
Okay. Goodbye, people watching this video.